What is it like being an entry-level graphic designer at your place of employment?
We don't really have entry-level designers per se here. Um, we do have two production artists, which would be the most entry-level that we have, but they are experienced production artists. They're not like right out of school or anything like that. I think they both probably have about 5 or 6 years experience. So we just have a huge volume of work, and we really just need someone to be able to come in and hit the ground running. And a lot of what they do is literally, literally you are like running all over the place. But a lot of what they do is, you know, making changes and edits to existing pieces. They may work with an art director to flesh out pieces that coordinate with a project that art director did. They'll be prepping files and burning discs for vendors and a lot of that kind of stuff that they do. Occasionally they get an opportunity to design a little bit, but that's not what their primary function is. But that would be sort of an entry-level position.
I think they're asking like at our company? Or
Yeah,
just
no,
somebody-
you. And like,
Okay.
with like anybody who might have worked as an intern or as a.
Okay. I think at Who is Karis Design, an entry level is somebody that's has a good, well-rounded background of interactive, very limited print because we don't do so much here, but very, very much a strong understanding of what it takes to start a project all the way to finishing it. Even that includes how to get the job, how to schedule the project, how to estimate the project, to create a timeline for the project, to producing it and completing it. That's pretty much a person coming in here has to have a really strong set of Macromedia Flash and Macromedia Dreamweaver. Those two, and also a strong understanding of HTML and CSS.
It sucks.
Well, right now, where we work right now, we don't actually have any entry-level designers, and that's by design. Actually, the company wants you to have more experience because we have very short deadlines, we have very high demand, and you really have to know your stuff. So unfortunately, we don't have any entry-level positions where we work now, but everybody had to start somewhere. And as an entry-level designer, you just got to prove yourself. You know, you sometimes you have to work longer and harder to get good jobs or to come up with something different because again, you usually have less time, and if you can't think of something on the job, then you have to use your personal time to sometimes.
Yeah, I think it could go either way. I mean, you could work at a place that it just sucks, man, and it's awful. You could work at a place that is actually fun. I think it all depends on who you work with. What company you work for. It could be a big surprise. You could start working at a print shop. Which is very different than you start working at a high-end ad agency, say. So I think it's still different anywhere, but in a particular case, it was kind of a shock. The first time, like I started actually working, professionally. So, but I think, like you said, you just have to prove yourself, and I continue, So there's always the first time for everything, so.
And I think people expect certain things of you, even as an entry level.
That you know your stuff still.
Yeah, that you know basic computer skills, that the things like resolution and the color formatting and your file formats. don't import a JPEG and then wonder why it doesn't work, you know, like stuff like that. I mean, real basic stuff.
That a lot of people doesn't know even after 2 years of working in it.
Entry level here is probably going to be doing some production work. Is this what you're looking for? Okay.
Yeah.
Entry level designer here is going to be doing some production work. You know, they'll probably be involved in some brainstorming sessions. I mean, we really do believe that, you know, an idea can come from anywhere. So just because you might be low on the totem pole or an entry level, it doesn't mean anything, because, you know, a good idea is a good idea. Also be, you know, probably involved in, you know, some of the printing of the jobs, maybe, you know, taking on a press check, that type of thing. You know, working on various aspects all the way from, you know, maybe, you know, from the conceptual stage all the way through the completion stage and delivery. So.
Hopefully interesting. I think a lot of people that first come in, you know, as I come from a design background as well, and started out doing illustration, so, you know, process is kind of a dirty word, but it's a necessity, and I think that's one of the things that people really have to kind of understand quickly when they go into a work environment, like especially if there's teamwork involved, that there's certain processes and accountability stages and review processes for a project as it goes through the system that have to be maintained, and record keeping and, you know, that kind of stuff. So you know, any place that's still in business likely is pushing a lot of work through the shop at any given time. And, you know, organizational skills and scheduling and those kinds of things are just a fact of life. You know, you have to. So as an entry level person, I think that's the kind of thing that maybe surprises people sometimes, that they're not just working on one project. They may be working on 4 projects and have to divvy up their, not only their time, but their mental approach to how they're going to tackle this task and this task and this task and get it done in a 6-hour time frame. So that's kind of I think that's kind of what you learn. Now, in terms of the type of work that a new person would come in and work on, you know, typically, you know, we'd like to, here at least, we have, you know, we like to get people involved creatively as much as possible early on. There's really, you know, you have to kind of check your ego at the door too. There's not really a creative hierarchy. It's really, you know, who's working on that or taking the lead on that particular project. So, you know, obviously the stuff that's less strategically important would be put on somebody new, you know, to you know, the stuff that isn't quite as time sensitive maybe, or, you know, to give people some allowance for experimentation and just kind of the learning and getting used to the system and the record keeping and that kind of thing. But aside in the stuff that I would try to get people that are new excuse me, involved in, would be, you know, finding ways to assist more experienced designers in producing, like, you know, taking on doing image adjustment, you know, just collaborating a little bit with, you know, on design execution and that kind of thing, and you know, helping other people with sort of the mechanics of projects that they're working on.
Anybody that works in this agency is treated the same, and I believe everybody in the art department and the creative department is important, and they all have a valuable role. So I treat everybody the same. What it's like for them is they, just like what you said, entry level, that means something. That means you're probably going to do the stuff that a lot of the senior level graphic designers or art directors or copywriters don't do. And that's finishing the work. The art directors might concept, and then they would give it to a production artist, and then that person would finish the work. So they really have to understand the program and how to take things and execute ideas. So from that aspect, it's not as creative as some of the other positions, but the one thing that I make sure of is anybody here gets a chance to have the opportunity to be creative and spread their wings. So there'll be some projects that they get to do where they create logos or they create ads or brochures, collateral, banners, work on interactive things, and they concept too. I give them a chance to concept. So they probably here they get a little bit more chance than a lot of places, but I still hear from them that they wish they had more. I mean, everybody always wishes they did, but you have to pay your dues. You have to go through that and pay your dues. But I'd say that if you'd ask any of the production artists that work here, I think you'd find out that most of them say it's a pretty great starting place.